was a danger near drive shafts. It could easily become entwined. A 1906 report by Hilda Martindale, an early female civil servant, noted that, quote, the British inspectors observed scalping injuries from shafting, including one case where the knowledge of first aid was so poor the scalp was left in the drive shaft for an hour, end quote. That reminds me, I was watching Below Deck. I don't remember which one. There's like 10. Anyways, there was this female deckhand who was super cute and had this huge curly red hair. And the captain kept telling her to put her hair in a ponytail. And she was so mad. She was like, oh, is the ship going to sink if I don't put my hair in a ponytail? It's like, no, the anchor chain could your hair could get caught in it and it could scalp you. How do you not know that? How do you not know that you are potentially going to be scalped? I don't even work on a boat, and I know that there are about 400 things on a boat that could scalp me. But then again, I'm a fucking weirdo, so I guess she didn't know that. Anyways, I digress. Another women's clothing accident in a bone china factory was equally horrific. Quote, a poor woman engaged in feeding a bone mill had unfortunately approached so near the machinery as to get her clothes entangled in the wheels. The result was that she was drawn in, and the flesh was literally pinched in large pieces by the remorseless machine from the thick part of her thighs. Eesh. An additional shade of melancholy is given to the circumstance by the fact that she was pregnant at the time, end quote. Whereas women's clothes, jewelry, and hair presented a disproportionate hazard in factories, historically men have been strangled by neckties and have had clothing like shirt cuffs snag on machinery, drawing fragile limbs and necks toward danger in seconds. Next up, we have corsets. Some trends are easier to follow than others. If cerulean blue comes into style, it's relatively easy to purchase a cerulean blue sweater. But what happens when a body shape becomes fashionable? We all live in it. We're all living in a horrendous Kardashian era. Hip to waist ratio isn't simply for sale. Well, if you have a lot of money, it is. Humans have long used clothing to change their silhouettes, exaggerating and accentuating different features. Depending on the era, trends have favored flattened or overflowing chests, cinched or straight waists, and flared or narrow hips. Starting in the late 16th century, people used to manipulate their waists by wearing a corset. The garment's stiff fabric was made even more rigid with whalebone and later metal, and it laced up like a running shoe. Though always fitted, the corset could also be tight-laced to dramatically compress the body and deliver a startlingly smaller waist. Corsets weren't just wildly popular, they were also controversial. From the moment they came into style, experts have blamed them for all kinds of ailments, physical, mental, and social. Some have even accused the corset of murder. Starting in the 18th century, male doctors and the popular press shared overdramatic images of corsets harming and even killing women who supposedly laced them too tightly. Before many death by corset stories surfaced, critics against these garments voiced their negative opinions of them. For instance, in 1844, the Dublin Weekly Herald stated, quote, corset lacing, as practiced in Europe and America, is in truth no other than an impious, murderous, suicidal fashion. Impious because it undertakes to give the female a better shape than the Lord intended her. Murderous because parents are often